What's going on, my people? What's happening? How we doing? How we living? All right. It's your boy Moose coming back at it again. All right. It's a cool world. You know we living in this cool world. All right. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on this channel. Okay. So yeah, what we got for y'all today is a monumental battle. Okay. All right. We have two philosophies going head to head. All right. All right. So we got two Titans and their respective spaces. All right. Coming out from the red pill manosphere. Somewhat. All right. Representing. In one corner, in the blue corner, we got my man CGA, Coach CGA, Greg Adams, representing the free agent lifestyle. Okay. He's talking about how he believes the modern dating and modern or marriage is, well, at least the classical modern dating and modern marriage is cooked. All right. He's talking about the free agent philosophy and lifestyle, but how men need to evolve and think about this every day because shit ain't going back in the past. Or at least that's what some people think. In the other corner, in the red corner, all right, we got my man Andrew Wilson, okay? And he is representing the classical marriage and classical dating and wants to bring back religion into the household, okay? And have all these women out here being brought under a religious bringing somewhat and being brought into the home with this religious covering, so to speak, an umbrella. And he wants to bring back that to the home, basically. All right, so we're gonna watch these two Titans from their own respective spaces and their own on their own podiums and represent basically what we're going into in the modern age. Okay, how they think things are changing and both of their philosophies. All right, so I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm gonna let these two men get right into it because we got a lot to discuss and just basically a lot to go over, essentially. Now, this is a very long debate. I'm not going to break down the whole video, but I'm going to break down some of the parts I thought were more important, the things that I thought were more vital as far as what their arguments were. Okay? So, yeah, without further ado, like I mentioned, let's just hop right into it so y'all can see what they talking about. All right? We can get right on into it. Let go.
He might have to go on his end and hit the go live on YouTube.
I'm going to speed it up here. Just get right into this middle of it.
In
right
the United States.
Yeah.
Can we agree to that? When you get to divorce, there's no God in marriage.
Can't agree to that.
But actually, hold on. Let me run it back for a second, just so we can at least start at like a certain point where we can kind of jump in and we're not just interjecting in the middle, so they can kind of lay out both their points.
Covered. One, it depends on demographic too. For instance,
Absolutely.
if you're black, it's going to be.
But we can't travel to the land of make believe. It sounds great. The 1, 2, and 3 generations.
I think this will be Andrew's hardest debate. Wow.
Your drink though.
Oh, you don't have to wait for that. Sure, he can bring it in. But why wouldn't you just throw your weight behind institutions? 100%.
I think
a lot of men have experienced tremendous damage, collateral damage as a result, and it has led to broken families, a lot of broken hearts, simply because the laws are.
Let me silence this thing.
To a divorce attorney, and they can marriage.
I'm
So at this particular point,
find a good point.
if someone asked me, would I recommend marriage for them, and they were in a certain position, gentlemen, to use the courts and families, a lot of they are typically.
It's finally getting started. Thanks for being patient. I know there was some delays. We got Andrew here versus Coach Greg Adams, aka the free agent lifestyle. We're going to talk about today, is marriage worth it for men in the West? So let's get into some opening statements. Who wants to start off?
Yeah, man, marriage is a great institution. It was an institution that built the community of America. Most of the better communities that have safety, good children, good schools are typically centered around marriage. However, marriage has not progressed to the point where men could be safe legally, and a lot of men have experienced tremendous damage, collateral damage as a result, and it has led to broken families, a lot of broken hearts, simply because the laws are not positioned to benefit both people in a divorce. Therefore, you have no fault divorce, You have opportunities for women to use the courts against men. And as a result, men have seen 1, 2, and 3 generations of men getting harmed, their grandfathers, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers getting harmed by this. So Generation Z men are not positioning themselves for a positive marriage. So at this particular point, if someone asked me, would I recommend marriage for them, and they were in a certain position in life, they weren't established, I would say no. There's no benefit for the person to get married today.
Got it.
That's a great point, and I think that's a great place rather to kind of just stop and just reflect what he just said. You know, he mentioned that he thinks that it's really a trap for men nowadays to get married, essentially, with the court system, with all the laws kind of in favor of the breadwinner, so to speak. Because let's be honest, sometimes it can be the woman who, in their position, if they're the breadwinner, and let's say they get a divorce and they have to, pay out child support, yada, yada, yada. But he made a great point on that, okay? So we'll just say that he thinks that marriage is dangerous for people nowadays, unless you have some kind of leverage, essentially just being covering your back with certain laws.
Your response, Andrew?
Yeah, I didn't hear any anti-marriage arguments. I heard anti-divorce arguments. So I'm with you on divorce, 100%.
Stream over.
And
But you agree.
But it's a good thing that the topic isn't on divorce, it's on marriage. And it seems like you agree with my proposition then. And the proposition is that marriage, quote, is a great institution.
Yep.
And that right now your concern is that men can't be safe in marriage, but that's not actually what you're saying. You're not saying men can't be safe in marriage. They can. You're saying that they may not be safe in divorce. So I have a counter proposition for you. My counter proposition is, what if it's the case that you can use religious marriage institutions without the state? And then we add the ecclesiastical structure of the marriage. That's what always kept them together anyway, before the state was ever involved. So what if instead we use the ecclesiastical church, the structure of the old churches, that would be Catholicism and Orthodoxy, where you see the lowest divorce rates, because the community puts pressure on the women to act right. That's what they do. Right now, the state applies no pressure on women to act right? You can just go and file whatever you want, get a divorce, and go be banging the neighbor by the next night. We totally agree on that. But to say that we should abandon marriage is silly. It seems like you're completely pro-marriage. You're just anti-divorce. So why wouldn't you just throw your weight behind institutions where the divorce rate is the least, and you have an ecclesiastical structure which can be appealed to assist with that? That's what makes no sense to me.
My response to that is, if we're fifths, we beat all drunk. All right. So that's a scenario that just isn't present.
Can you explain the analogy for me?
Well, if we
Okay, that's a funny thing. He said if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk. And he's got a great point. It's funny that Andrew, I thought he made some good points too about the ecclesiastical structure of the marriage, of the classical marriage, right? But we're not living in olden times. Things have changed so dramatically that you have to think that people's mindsets are not going back to that time. But I digress.
use if, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If we say if we have a situation where this is present, then this would work. Well, that makes sense. If we had that,
we do have it right now.
Well, it doesn't necessarily work because, and I'm going to tell you why, because a woman can go to a divorce attorney and they can simply just say, hey, listen, it was a off the cuff, off the state divorce, but you got married within a certain state, or she filed in a certain state, so therefore the divorce.
No,
absolutely, yes. Listen, I've been to with the divorce attorneys, and what they'll tell you is, hey, listen, you can get married in a ritual, you can get married in the orthodoxy, you can get married off record. But if she files and that woman is hell bent on saying, we got married, I don't care if it was a ceremony where we walked on coals with our feet bare, that's considered a marriage. You also have common law. You have a lot of other ways for that woman to establish marriage.
How does your way eliminate common law?
I don't have any way to eliminate common law. So what I have is a way for men to avoid.
Well, then the
being
argument's
used.
silly.
No, the argument's not silly. So here's what you have. You have a if proposition, which doesn't exist for most men. Most men aren't religious. Most men aren't looking to be under a religious orthodoxy. So it doesn't apply. So you're taking a moral standard or a religious standard to apply to people who aren't under that veil.
So let's start with a couple of things you said which are fundamentally untrue. Most men are religious, in fact, including in this country. Most of them, not some of them.
But they're not religious.
Hang on. I didn't
Hold on for a
interrupt. I
second.
didn't
Right.
interrupt.
I understand,
interrupt.
but you're maybe just take that point. Most aren't under your religion.
Okay.
We can agree with that.
So here's the thing, though. But Catholicism and Orthodoxy is growing rapidly. And if it's the case that the ecclesiastical structure is already there, which it is, right? If you're going to cohabitate with a woman, the thing that you're offering right now is common law marriage anyway, if there's cohabitation at all. You're not protecting anybody from that. At least under my model, it gives an ecclesiastical structure that's designed to prevent divorce by applying community pressure. That was the way it was always done. Apply the application of community pressure within the confines of the woman's social circle. Right now, do you agree with me, for instance, that many divorces happen because women like to yap? So you get a freshly divorced woman and she's free. You go, girl, girl power. And she starts talking to her little friends and she starts telling them how liberating it is and how great it is and this and that. And this is why when women have divorced friends, their likelihood of divorce actually rapidly increases. It's for this reason.
Divorce is contagious.
So if it's the case that this social contagion is eliminated because now we have an ecclesiastical structure, an ecclesiastical authority, which won't grant it because you get ostracized from that social group through excommunication, for instance, or not being able to participate anymore with that community, that's an application of a serious and significant social pressure, which can do the very thing you want. Bring back that great institution, absent the state, and it avoids this whole problem of common law marriage. Because if it's the case that you can be common law married anyway inside of a state, and they can, get grounds for divorce on that anyway, then we actually need to have some social pressures to prevent them from doing that. So it sounds like we agree marriage is awesome for men. Divorce is terrible for them. So it seems like we should be attacking the divorce structure here. And it doesn't seem like you actually have anything to do that other than just avoid the thing that's great for you because this other bad side effect could happen.
Sure. That's
So
like
why don't
smoking
we-
cigarettes.
So why don't we attack the bad side effect when we have the mechanism to do it? It's not if, we can do it now.
Okay,
right this
so like
second.
smoking cigarettes is the same analogy you're saying. Okay, here, cigarettes in this situation, we obviously know it has negative side effects. So you would avoid it. Now, here's the issue that I have with it. It sounds great on paper, but we can't travel to the land of make-believe. It sounds great. The majority of people probably wouldn't do it. And if you ask a guy, which this is an important part, they're not even prepared to even talk about that. They don't even know what divorce laws are. So you're asking them to travel to the land of make-believe under a marriage system that small percentage of people use. No one uses it today. You might have said they used it to the past. Today, that doesn't exist. So we can't travel to the land of make-believe to make marriage work for you. It
Well-
might work in your marriage, but it doesn't work for the greater structure.
Your argument here contradicts itself because on the one hand, you say men don't know enough about marriage, but my assumption is that your mission is to let men know about marriage.
Absolutely.
Okay, well then I don't understand how it's the land of make-believe if you can let them know about this, but I can't.
Sure.
Right,
And
so-
you can offer
if,
that.
So if
You
I
can offer
am,
that.
it sounds like I'm offering a real alternative to what you're offering. And here's what you're offering. Men, marriage is great. It's a great institution. It's the best for children. These are your words. In marriage, right? Men seem to thrive. Their health seems to thrive. Everything seems to thrive. You're saying, well, the problem is that divorce rates are high, and they are. However, there's a few things there that you haven't covered. One, it depends on demographic too. For instance,
Absolutely.
if you're black, it's going to be way worse than if you're white.
Correct.
Okay, way worse. And also socioeconomics matters, right? Demographics in general matter. So you can do a lot, actually, including prenuptial agreements. You can have a prenuptial agreement with the ecclesiastical authority without the state even involved. And it seems like that would mitigate your risk to damn near nothing.
You said if about 50 times.
Yeah, how do you get a marriage without getting the state involved? I mean, even if it's common law, that's still recognized by the state. You know, I don't really get that, but I mean, they both had valid points. But and then CGA was saying that you could get married outside of the state. I don't know how you do that. I mean, unless you're going through the religious means somehow. But like you said, most people ain't gonna be going for that nowadays. Like it's just not realistic. It's not.
So did
Today.
you?
Now, here's what I'm telling you.
So
I'm
did
telling you
you.
when we're already in this system, you're going outside of the system to create a scenario for me to argue
What
against.
system are you going outside of?
We're talking about marriage is typically done with the state. Almost everyone does it this way. So now
Typically is
you're
not-
here's hold
is
on for a
not
second. Hold on for a
must.
second. You've
Typically
moved the
doesn't mean
goalposts.
anything.
You've moved the goalposts to a scenario
Mhm.
of if, and you're arguing from
is.
the if. No,
Is.
hold on for a second. You're arguing from the if perspective.
Is perspective.
No, listen.
It is.
Give
the
me a
is
chance to
perspective.
listen.
All right,
Give
I'll
me a
give you the
chance.
Go ahead.
You're arguing from a very small percentage point. Now you're saying demographics, and we can talk about that, but you're still trying to get me to argue in your cloud of if. That's the land of make believe. Most people by far are married to the state. Not only that, your land of make believe
Mhm.
still exists. The prenup with the ecclesiastics, you can write whatever you want in that prenup. It only matters in the divorce. That's the reality. So I'm still dealing in reality.
So
You're
am
in the
I.
clouds. Hold on for a second. You're in the
Okay.
clouds. So let's take the demographics.
Okay.
In your scenario, it sounds like, which would be fair, your primary concern is with white people.
No. It's with
Hold
all
on for a
people.
second. You said with black people, the demographics, the chance is higher.
Yeah.
So have you discovered the ecclesiastics approach to black people married within this?
Yes.
However, their demographics, economics,
Mhm.
which all do affect marriage, has nothing to do in the land of the clouds or the make-believe with ecclesiastics. It's all going to boil down to in the law. And there's no church reverend that's going to go into your household to make sure there's social pressure on your wife. Do you know
yes,
any?
sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know any that can cover all marriages? That
Yes.
answer is no.
Yes. And by the way, when you keep,
Are we in reality here?
I'm
or are we
trying.
in the cloud? We're
I gotta pause that. That was too funny, man. He's trying to make him see the light. Andrew Wilson cannot see the light. He refuses. He's stuck in his own ways. Hey, everybody got their own perspective and own way of being, own way of living. So it's funny.
we're not arguing
I was
anything
just trying.
legitimate.
I was just
This
trying.
is
Okay.
in the land of make believe.
Well, when
We
I'm
don't have
allowed to
enough-
respond, let
okay,
me
give
know.
me a second.
Go
Let
ahead.
me finish this point.
Go ahead.
You're imagining.
Mhm.
Your imagination is great. John Lennon would be great.
Mhm.
You know, you would be proud of you at this particular point.
But I'm imagining all the people.
You're imagining all the people under a situation and a structure that you brought in here. All right. But the state highly governs this, and the state highly governs divorce. I'm dealing in a reality situation where I'm trying to counsel men to give information to. The best thing you've told me is that you're willing to give men the option to do this. Are they willing to all do this option? The answer is probably not, just like they're
No.
not willing to do what I'm telling you them to do. However, we're both attempting, which is a good thing. It's noble. However, your situation rarely exists. Can we talk about the reality of what exists?
Sure.
Absolutely. So let's take your moral religious crusade out of it and talk about the reality.
Yeah, let's
Are you
not.
willing to do that?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
See, you know,
Yeah, see, here's the thing. But you can't. You have to take it out because that's how the context of the world we're in. You can't just say, nah, well, it doesn't apply to what my view of the world is. So I'm going to go find people who only see my view of the world. Sure, you can do that. But if you're trying to convince large majority of men to go seek out the same type of person, you know, the same people with the same beliefs and, you know, morals, it's going to be a lot harder to find that. So it's like the percentage of finding is much smaller. I'm going to let these guys go, but I see what CGA is saying. I do see it. Like, I see where Andrew Wilson's coming from, but it's not, it's just to have that and apply that as a broad message to most men, it just is not realistic.
you're not willing to do that
Well,
because it's all based on your reality.
Guess what? It's a debate, and I will argue my points from my view, how I see fit. Not for you to.
But what I'm
govern.
not going to do is expect
not
to
my
be arguing
government.
from the land of make believe.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
not- you
All
don't-
right. So
okay, yeah,
anybody
my
have
turn? My turn.
anybody
relax.
have the anybody have the sound effect for the television show where the train comes through, Mr. Rogers?
Let me know when
because I want to be on
let me
the,
know
I
when you
want to be
gas
on
out.
Earth.
Yeah, let me know.
All
when
right,
you gas
Let's
out.
let Andrew respond.
Yeah. So the thing is that it's funny that you bring up Imagine All the People of John Lennon, which is an anti-religious song. And hilariously enough, was designed to assist with female empowerment. Isn't that hilarious? But the thing here is you keep on saying that what I'm offering is make-believe, but it's not. It's been governing the Orthodox and Catholic Church for 2,000 years, including in this country. Now, here, let me give you an example, for instance, the Amish, right? Do you know what the divorce rate is among them? It's almost non-existent, yet they're still governed by the same laws of the land that you're speaking to. So sounds like if I give a counter, if I say, look, I can give you a way, a methodology in which you can utilize the religious ecclesiastical institution, which has existed for 2,000 years and has right now the lowest divorce rates, right this second as we speak, not make-believe land, not hundreds of years in the future, right this second, as opposed to the system you have of common law divorce, which is sky high and you can't do anything about it. That's what is true. So pointing out what is true is right now you can have a prenup. That is true. What is true is prenups are usually held up in court. That is true. What is true is that you can have a marriage outside of a state because it's a religious institution anyway. You never have to have a license with the state. It's never been necessary. And if you do, the only way that can be done is if it's sacramental. And if it's sacramental, it's governed now by the church. That's going to be the community the women are a part of. And so the thing is like, that sounds like a real viable solution. What's yours? More fucking degeneracy? Go out and play the field, hump a lot of chicks? How's that going to help anybody do anything? That's been the progressive mantra for 100 years. Isn't it wonderful? Your turn.
All right, we're turning back to Earth. Now, first things first.
Yo, he just sniping him out with the little commentary. little shots, little headshots, like pew pew. He ain't going for the full machine gun. He's just going for the little, sniper shots.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to this, back in reality, there's no God in marriage. So, Mr. Sky Daddy, God, religion, that's all great, but there's no God in marriage. At this particular point, when you go through a marriage, if one person decides to not obey the Holy Bible or whatever you're thumping, you have no basis to keep that marriage together. If she decides to leave the church and decides not to listen or excommunicate herself, she's now under the state.
Agree.
Now, when you're getting divorced, which I'm assuming you've been divorced.
Well, I mean, that's a hell of an assumption to make.
Have you been divorced?
Well, I mean,
have you been married?
Can you tell me, if you can tell me how that has any merit?
Give me a second, because if you've been through one, you would know that there's no God in the divorce court, in the family court. There's no God in there. No one asked you.
There is the state in there.
There is the state. So that's what we're arguing from.
Yeah,
that's when you get married. So you're telling me if, and I'm telling you, well, this is what's going to happen. Even if you took Sky Daddy into court with you, they would say you pray to the judge. The judge is the authority in the court. So the God argument is a nice, interesting argument. And I probably am not going to say on the conversation very long, because that's your God. That's your Sky Daddy. That's your religion. I have a different religion. So who gives you who gives you the authority to change the understanding, the conversation to your religion? That's your religion.
I'm not changing the conversation.
Okay, so it only works if it only works if you believe in your Sky Daddy. That's the only way it works, and that's the only way you're going to advise men.
We're talking about mitigating risk.
No. We're talking about, can men get into a marriage today only under your Sky Daddy? That's what we're assuming.
Okay.
Now, can they do it otherwise?
Yeah, you can have secular marriage.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay, yeah,
Make it work.
I just did. So
Make it work.
The argument that you have is that marriage is great. It's a great institution.
We already covered this.
Well, what made it great?
We already covered
What
this.
made it great?
Can we go into why it would make it work for your secular? That's the question I ask you. You're asking me questions back. Go ahead and answer the question.
So if you're talking about secular marriage, there's never been any point to it.
I'm sorry.
There's never been any point to secular marriage ever. Never. What would ever be the point of secular marriage? It's always been a religious institution. That's what made it great. Now, when you say it's a great institution, what made it great for secularists, other than the fact that Sky Daddy and God had all these enforcement arms, and those things had to be enforced socially? Like, for instance, men weren't allowed to run away. And women, right, they had to show cause for these divorces. And they had to be good causes. They had to show it for things like infidelity, right? It was all biblically governed. It was all lawfully governed by this Sky Daddy guy you like so little. But that's what made the institution great in the first place. And what you're talking about here, you're making a point that divorce is bad. And yet, I agree. Divorce is bad.
Correct.
So what we're really talking about is how do we mitigate the risk for divorce? And we have two different methods here.
Well, the conversation
method-
is marriage good for men. That's the conversation.
But it is. We already said it's good for men. That's not even in dispute.
And now, how do we make it better since they're avoiding
Well,
it?
it
Since
sounds
men or women
like-
are avoiding it.
It sounds like the thing that you think makes it bad is divorce, not marriage.
Correct.
Then
Listen,
we need to mitigate divorce.
we're 15 minutes in and we are in the land of reality. You finally called up. Can you tell
been
me
there the whole
how
time.
we can get to the secular marriage? I mean, I've given you a
Yeah,
chance.
so-
You're dragging your
So
feet.
again, secular, there's never been any point to secular marriage ever.
Now, listen, marriage is for child creation. It would be great for child community
it's
and
not
all
just
of
for
these
that.
things. And now, listen, by the time the religious aspects got into marriage, they were chopping people's heads off and burning Bibles. So, listen, I know we want to take it back to the past and act like the past was better, but there's always a negative part of the past. If you go back and you look at the English, this has all been there. People were getting their heads chopped off. The Crusaders were doing their things across countries and they were spreading Christianity through
So,
threats and
What does that have to do
violence.
with anything?
Now, that's what you're trying to uplift. That's what you're trying to uphold.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
You wouldn't know what I'm talking about.
don't.
That's what you're lacking.
I have no.
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm done. He said, I don't even know what the hell you talking about. Oh, you don't know history now, bro? I gotta move this forward. Let me go a little forward because that's a little ridiculous. Let's see.
One. All right. That's
So
not
multiply.
an answer. Okay, listen. The first leap
like you
of
didn't
faith that
hear
you
a word I
have.
said.
Hold on for a second. Oh, I heard you. The first leap of faith is virgin. Okay. If we look at the stats, please pull up the stats of how many women
It
qualify
doesn't
as a
hinge
virgin.
on virginity.
You said
That's the
virginity. I'm just
baseline-
letting you know.
Oh my
You
God.
brought it up.
In
Now-
America.
In America, what women
This should be good.
percentage qualify as virgins? All right. So you're gonna say
So-
very few. So you know this.
7%, age
7
22 to 34.
7%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what?
So now we have
God, this guy. Do you know what a baseline for an argument is?
that was the baseline.
Yeah.
You
and
want to say
so
now, do we want to
the
increase the
base-
body count?
yeah,
I mean,
the-
because
yes,
if you're looking
that was the whole point of the baseline of the
Okay,
argument.
so right now, if we can pull up how many women in Gen Z, because this is marital age women, would have a body
That's
count
not the only
lower than
marriage-
5.
No,
Because
millennials
now
are
we're-
also marriageably aged. What do you mean?
Okay, millennials, younger
Yeah,
millennials.
yeah.
Okay, because there's no point in older people getting married. They're not procreating. All right, they're gonna have 1 or 2 kids.
Older
that doesn't
people
help
do
us.
procreate.
Not that much. All right,
That's
they're gonna
true,
have 1
but
or 2 kids.
the
All right,
thing-
listen, it said in the
What
Bible,
do
in
you
your Bible, it says
Yeah.
be fruitful and multiply, not
Uh-huh.
add. All right, we're not adding one little autistic kid. We're multiplying.
That would be
Right.
multiplying.
No, it wouldn't be multiplying.
Yes,
Having
it
one
would.
little bread
If you
ass
have
kid
3 and you have one more, that's
All right,
multiplying.
multiplying by 1. All right, that's
So
not the answer.
multiplying.
Okay, listen, we're multiplying
Okay.
by multiples. You know what I'm talking about. Now listen.
Yeah, that is a
you
multiple.
want,
that we're
hold on for a second.
multiplying
Hold on for a second. You want to convince me
by. Uh-huh.
that there's going to be women of low body count in this secular world we live in to
Uh-huh.
make your scenario
They're
work,
more
to
likely to-
enforce women to have
Yeah.
sex with their
They're gonna be
husband
more
from
like-
the pulpit.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Yeah.
This is very strange.
Well, I have
from
all
a
the data
secular
to back
person.
my. Show
From
me
a
anything.
very small percentage. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it works in a podunk town. I don't
Doesn't
know where
just
you're
work in
from.
a podunk town.
We're talking about the metropolis.
Mhm.
We're talking about major
And
cities.
how is your
And you're talking
plan
about
going to mitigate that?
virginity.
How
You're
is your
I
plan
asked
going to
you-
mitigate
remember,
that?
I don't know if you remember. I asked you. All right.
And I
This is the
told
question
you.
and you came back with virgins.
No.
And you came back with
Oh my God.
enforcing
Why
sex
do
from
you
the
only give
pulpit.
half the argument? That's why you can't respond to my arguments. So let's do it again. If you want
Please.
to mitigate,
Force women to have loaded body
You're
counts.
not, dude. How's it force?
Go ahead.
How's it force?
You're the one enforcing sex.
How
with
is
the
it?
husband.
How?
do you
How are we
enforce sex-
using force?
How are you enforcing sex to the
Through
husband from the
social, through
pulpit?
social pressure, doofus. The same way you would with
Okay,
everything.
Gentlemen, your wife is going to have sex with you because church reverend enforced her to have
Oh
sex
my
with
God.
you.
Do you think?
Okay, please pull up the chat.
Yeah, pull
His
up the chat.
suggestion is to
Uh-huh.
have a church reverend enforce
Uh-huh.
you
They're
to
not
have
enforcing
burning
it.
desire to have sex with your
Enforce
husband.
requires force. Enforce
Wow.
is derivative of force. You can't enforce absent force. No one's saying force.
This is how your sex is going to be had in his marriage.
Uh-huh.
It's through enforcement through the religious pulpit.
No, it's
I
going to
mean,
be
this
the
is
idea.
2025,
if it's
and we're
the
still here
idea-
somewhere on Little House on the
Yeah,
Prairie.
if it's the idea,
I would love
that
to have
women
this reality.
If it's the idea that women have and men
No,
have,
no,
they're not supposed
no. I've been watching long enough, man. I think I'm gonna end it there, okay? Because we've seen long enough. We've seen guys both their valid viewpoints, and they both had some viewpoints that I thought were pretty legit. But Andrew Wilson, man, like I don't think he understands the type of women that are out here today. I mean, with OnlyFans and with the Instagram modeling and just the access that dudes have to women nowadays, man. It's just ain't nobody going for that religious type of covering. Maybe when they get married, they'll say, "Oh, they'll go under the religious guiding of their religion," right? Let's say they get married with that, and they go into that kind of religious script. Man, ain't no one gonna abide by that. Ain't no one, like in 2025, really? Nah, man, that's not happening. People is living their own lives. We got independent women. We got women with crazy body counts by the time they getting married. So it's like, yeah, it's not looking like they're not innocent like they used to be back in the 50s and 40s when a guy would marry a woman and he'd be like come home from war or something like that, and he can get like a woman who has been living with her parents her entire life, right? And she just it's not the same, man. We got these women who are experienced, they got their own money, okay? They jet setting around the world to Abu Dhabi and God knows where, doing all types of things, and then they want to go back once they've had all their fun and have all their bodies and stuff like that, okay? Then all they dirt, they want to just turn the other cheek, turn a new leaf, and get under a religious sect and say, I'm a brand new person now. And that old me is dead. I'm under a new religion and I want to get married now. That's what's gonna happen to a lot of these women. Okay. And yeah, that's basically the future. So I think Andrew Wilson, man, I think he's kind of delusional with this type of thinking. Like it ain't going back in the past. The type of tradition he wants in the past, man, these women ain't going for it. And CGA with the free agent lifestyle, I think that's what it is, man, honestly. But I think it's only for people who can really do it. Like it's not for everybody. And that's the whole point. Like the free agent lifestyle is not for everybody. Do it if you can, if you got the leverage to kind of do your thing. But yeah. If you just working like some regular job, you average as hell, man, you might have to stick to that unless you boss up and level up, like my man CGA says. So yeah, we're gonna leave it at there. Leave it at that for today. I appreciate everyone coming and watching the videos. Any attention, any of the love, it's all good, man. Any hate, it's all good. I love it all anyway. So make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe, and tune in next time for the next video, because someone's got to expose this cool world, man. And it's your boy Moose. I'm here to do it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. A-Town down, man. Peace.